It's clubbing time, Benny! Welcome back to the 3 Count podcast after our post-WrestleMania hiatus. Got an enormous show for you today. But first, I need to welcome you in my co-host representing the Broken Hill Combat Club, Ben Hoblin. Benny, welcome back.
Welcome back yourself, Dill, mate. How was your trip?
I had a fantastic trip, trekking all throughout the world and most importantly, going to Dynamite.
Yeah, a bit of AEW Dynamite. It looked fun, mate. It definitely looked good.
That was fantastic in Vegas, seeing the cage match. See, the highlight was definitely MJF coming out looking like Shawn Michaels in his little referee outfit. That was
good.
That was brilliant. So amazing stuff. Thank you AEW for the tickets. It was an amazing show. Yeah. But anyway, we're back on the airwaves. We've got a huge card, 3 Count card for you today. We're going to give you our thoughts and ratings on AEW Double or Nothing and WWE Hell in a Cell. We're going to talk about the pipe bomb from MJF. Plus, we're going to get to all the latest news. And of course, it wouldn't be a 3 Count podcast without a draft. And it's going to be a tough one this week. Mate, we're going to draft the best wrestling factions. Plenty to choose from there.
So many.
Please follow us on the socials. Get to see all of our drafts. Get the heads up when new episodes drop. And if you want to check out my experience watching AEW Dynamite, at 3 Count Pod on Twitter and Facebook, and at 3 Count Podcast on Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Benny, so much to get through. Now, let's start with the pipe bomb.
Wow, how good was it? Like, it was, I couldn't take my eyes off it. I was just like, this is so amazing.
I mean, we don't need to talk about how great MJF is on the mic. We know how great.
We know that, but just where he went, like, you just didn't think he was going to go to some of those places, and like, was it a work? Was it shoot? Like, everybody's up in the air.
It's fun to play that. Is it a work or is it a shoot game? I mean,
yeah,
you kind of know Tony's back there pulling the strings anyway, so he can cut the mic off whenever he wants, but.
And he did it perfectly at exactly the right time as well. Like, and MJF's doing the come on, what's going on? And then, afterwards we've seen the behind the scenes footage from people filming in the crowd, and they were like, CM Punk came down. There's a couple other wrestlers on.
Matt Jackson came out as well.
Yeah, so it was like,
even the heels are coming out to try and get him out. And then he left through the crowd.
Which is what you said as well. It makes you think that they parted the crowd for him. They knew where he was going to go.
The security was helping him.
Yeah. So,
but it's fun anyway. It's so much fun.
It's so good.
Like Tony was asked about the promo on Busted Open Radio, and he simply said, "I can't comment on that part. I would say that it was a great night overall at the Forum."
Yeah, well, they took him all off their socials. They took him off the website and stuff like that. So they're really going all in on it.
That's right. He's no more merch in the store. Though I did notice on Pro Wrestling Tees, he has like 2 shirts, and one of them is with him on the cover of Forbes saying the hottest young free agent in pro wrestling. So, but yes, they've removed him from everywhere they can.
He should have a shirt that just says Tony Khan is a mark.
Effing mark.
Yeah, I didn't want to swear, but yeah.
That was classic. Now, we mentioned CM Punk. Now, he'll be stepping away from action for a little while. Broken foot. He's just had surgery. Apparently that went successfully, but he's still going to be the AEW champion. AEW are going to crown an interim champion with Jon Moxley facing either Hiroshi Tanahashi or Hiroki Goto at Forbidden Door for the interim championship. What do you think about this, Benny?
Yeah, look, I guess you got to keep the title. I don't know. Like, I reckon you should just strip him of the title and then make him work for it again when it comes back. He had that rise when he came back. There was the fanfare when he came back the first time. Then he slowly but surely built up. He's got the title. Let's just strip it off him and make him do it all again. Because how much would the crowd get behind him? Like, you've got nothing. They're going to love him even more. He's got to climb back to the top and everything. He's going to come back with the title. Then it's going to be obviously whoever's got the interim title will fight him for the title, I guess. And then we go from there.
I mean, it's got to be Mox, right? Like, and then we're going to get a Moxley Punk match.
Yeah, I did read somewhere the other day, though, that because they reckon at Forbidden Door it's going to be a Carter versus Hangman, which, I mean, we can get to, I guess. But I think they want to swap the titles around. So
why not?
Like, Tanahashi will actually win the AEW title and Hangman will win the New Japan title, and then they'll have them on the opposite shows. So that way it gives both like promotions a bit more,
It wouldn't surprise me. AEW are good with like kind of doing stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think is, the right way to do things.
Yeah.
So,
but you'd think like you would think that it has to be Mox. Like you can't imagine Sam Punk was meant to fight Tanahashi, I guess. So that's where he came out the other day, didn't he? And stuff.
yeah.
So it could happen. But who knows with AEW?
That's the fun of it, right?
Just give it to MJF and let's play.
Now, there's been a few other injuries. Bryan Danielson's banged up. Jeff Hardy's banged up, though. He will be wrestling again next week. Scorpio Sky's banged up as well. So I've had a few injuries there in AEW. Now, at Double or Nothing, which we will get to, but we had 2 new people joining the roster. We had Athena, a.k.a. Ember Moon, is now All Elite, as well as Stokely Hathaway, a.k.a. Malcolm Bivens.
Bivens is over there.
So they're now All Elite.
And he's tied himself up with Jade. So
yeah,
good mouthpiece for her.
Absolutely. And we saw the return of Miro finally after so long, destroying Johnny Elite.
I thought that was a brilliant promo before his match. And then he came out to that same little weird run with the Cristiano Ronaldo Siu. And I was like, it just didn't match the promo that he just did. He should just walked out all mean and tough and just like, nah. So I was a bit disappointed with that. But yeah, Miro's back, which is good. Yes, I love Miro. He
likes to talk about God. Good on Miro.
He's gonna take God down now. He's gonna take over. So
there you go. I think didn't the McMahons wrestle God?
Shawn Michaels was in there, wasn't he there?
Something like that. Congratulations, Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti getting engaged in Paris.
It was beautiful, wasn't it? Especially straight after he kicked her in the face only a couple of days beforehand. So they can possibly be one of the greatest heel couples if they just keep this going. Yeah. He's somebody I read on Twitter or something like that. It was like he engages to more, proposes to more women than what he does have title matches or something like that. So that's pretty funny.
That is good stuff. Now we saw a debut on Dynamite. Will Ospreay.
Wow, that was crazy when he came out.
I did not expect to see him on AEW Dynamite. Obviously, he's still part of the New Japan roster, but came out on Dynamite and ambushed FTR and Trent Beretta.
He just does the little turn around. They just turn around and just get smashed. So that was pretty good.
He's incredible. Whoever he faces at Forbidden Door, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Who do you think it's going to be? Like, obviously, you'd want somebody like Bryan Danielson maybe, or that'd be a good match.
It's got to be someone big. I mean, I know he attacked FTR and Trent Beretta, but they've got to go for some tag titles or something like that. But
yeah, it's
got to be someone big because Ospreay is a star.
Well, how far away is Kenny Omega?
I think he's still a few months away.
Like they've had some battles in the past and stuff, but that'd be imagine that.
Just give him the old Seth Rollins treatment of a mystery opponent.
Yeah.
Then bring someone in. Anyway,
that'd be good.
Also on Dynamite, we had a new title,
yes.
The All Atlantic Championship. I guess they're having a tournament to decide. The people in the tournament are all from different countries. We had Buddy Matthews representing us. He lost to
the bastard.
Can't lose to England. Come on, buddy.
What about? Did you see when he spiked him off that move he did off the top rope?
Yeah.
I've never seen that. That was crazy. Like, obviously he's done it before, but the way Matthews took it was just like, I thought he was dead. Like, I thought he was brown bread. That was all over. You know what I mean?
He is an absolute talent, Buddy Matthews. But in any case, so they've got the tournament. They got Penta, Malachi Black, Ethan Page, Miro, and 2 of the wrestlers from New Japan. They're going to have a fatal 4-way at Forbidden Door to figure out who the new All-Atlantic champion was. It kind of came out of nowhere, this title belt.
It was very weird. It was, considering we got we'll talk about it at Double or Nothing, we got the other 2 title belts, the Owen Hart title belts.
Yeah.
But, like, they're just going to be for trophy, I guess. They're not really, they're never going to be defended, and then this title just came out of nowhere.
I'm
all for having another title. Like, it's good because it gives other people something to go for.
They said new titles, and I thought, okay, they're bringing the trios titles out, but no, All Atlantic. Very interesting. Moving on, Benny, to WWE news. Now, we've seen that Stephanie McMahon, she's taken a leave of absence from WWE. President Nick Khan took over her responsibilities for a few weeks. They have announced her replacement, former Man U Chief Marketing Officer Catherine Newman. So there was a bit of speculation that Stephanie, her performance might not have been up to scratch, but I would think the marketing officer for Man U will do a pretty good job of marketing WWE.
Yeah, well, I was reading an article earlier today that was saying they sort of foreshadowed it when Vince was on what's his name's podcast?
Pat
McAfee's podcast. Yeah, sorry. And he said how he demands and expects more from his family members that are in the business and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, Stephanie's gone. So, I mean, there could be some underlying stuff there. I don't know. Like, that's all behind the scenes, obviously. It's not on-camera stuff. So there's something going on there, especially considering Shane left not long ago as well. So. Yeah,
she did say it was to spend some more time with her family, but we will see if Stephanie makes her way back. In not the greatest move for WWE, they've had to move Money in the Bank from Allegiant Stadium, which I did a tour of. It was a beautiful stadium, to their MGM Grand Garden Arena. So
not selling enough tickets?
I think they decided Roman was going to be off the show, didn't sell enough tickets, and they thought they'd move it. So
lost Cody as well. So, I mean,
yeah. So, they go to the place where the first Double or Nothing was held, the MGM Grand Garden Arena. So,
speaking of Roman, where's Roman?
This new contract, this new Brock Lesnar contract that he's on, I don't think we're going to see him very often.
Yeah, they do all this stuff to give him both belts and everything, and now he's just not there. Like, I'm a bit disappointed in it, to be honest. It hasn't really warmed to me at all.
It's got to be time soon, right? I mean, I heard there was rumblings that he was going to face Riddle at Money in the Bank. Now that's off.
Gone.
Riddle's probably going to face him just at SmackDown or Raw or something, and then we'll get Orton
at SummerSlam.
Against him at SummerSlam, and then Brock Lesnar further down the road, I guess. We will see what happens there with Roman, but
further down the road, like where? Like, that's got to be a big one. We can't have it at Mania again, surely.
Well, I mean, it's got to be
Rumble.
The way things are looking, right? Cody should be back by the Rumble.
Cody wins the Rumble.
WrestleMania, boyhood dream again, taking on. I mean, that's your Mania moment for next year.
Yeah, fair.
And
then he just gets demolished at Suplex City by Brock. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. Now, speaking of big names, Bray Wyatt has been hinting at his return. He's changed his Twitter handle again to Wyatt6. So he's gone back to the name Wyatt. He's released a series of tweets saying that everything good that has happened to him first came a period of horrible suffering. He's tired of watching and hearing irrelevant clowns speculate on how he'll be perceived. And then lastly, he finishes with, patience, it's almost time.
So this was all before Hell in a Cell?
It was. And it spiked ticket sales.
I was just going to say, ticket sales spiked when they thought that Bray was coming back, even like everyone buying it online and everything as well. So you never know. Vince might have put the call out just to try and get some sales up.
With the name back to Wyatt, it makes me think it might be a WWE thing.
It has to be, surely. Like, why would he go back to that?
And with Cody gone, there's a spot now, right?
Yeah.
So we will see. Now, when we're talking about WWE news, we've got to talk about the big walkout from Sasha and Naomi a few weeks ago. Gave up the women's tag team title belts. It's looking like they're not really going to do much with those title belts for now. They remain suspended indefinitely. All their merch has been removed from WWE shop, but they are both still superstars on WWE.com.
Yeah, this was a weird one, really, wasn't it? Like, at first we thought, they've just walked out. Then I thought, it's a work, like it's all a bit of fun. But I just don't know now. Like, some of the tweets that Naomi's put out as well, it's kind of, I don't know what's going on there.
I thought it was a work for sure, and now, it's absolutely 100% true. And there's people
I think it was a work though, is the fact that they mentioned it on WWE television. And then they put out that statement. I've never seen them put out a statement like that before. That was really weird.
Yeah.
So,
they're making a point, I think.
Yeah, true. Like, if you want to do this, do it. And like, we'll just screw you over, really.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, I read somewhere yesterday that there's more cuts coming. So what's going to happen in WWE? Like, they seem to do it every 3 to 6 months at the moment. So we're probably due for some more.
I guess so. With those tag team titles, it's just they're probably better off putting them on the shelf for now, to be honest, till they get.
There's no one else to do it. Like, they need a secondary singles title, if anything.
Yeah.
Like the women's intercontinental title or something like that, rather than having the tag titles, because they're just throwing together teams that aren't teams.
Or have the tag titles go between any show, including NXT.
Yeah, that works, I guess.
Speaking of NXT, Apollo Crews.
I was just going to say literally what I was about to say. Apollo's down there.
Apollo has returned to NXT. Sans Nigerian accent. That's gone now.
He's just gone. No more accent.
So him and Commander Aziz have both moved to the NXT Superstars page.
Aziz was nowhere to be seen at the time, though.
He was nowhere to be seen, but it looks like Apollo will challenge Bron Breakker at some stage for the title. So that's interesting. And Roxanne Perez won the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. Now she'll get the choice to either face Mandy Rose or she can face Toxic Attraction for the tag title. So we will see what happens there.
That'll be a bit of a feud going, I guess, but you'd go for the title, wouldn't you? You wouldn't go for the tag title.
You would think so. Now, someone who hasn't been in WWE's good books, and it looks like there's been some fences mended, Ric Flair.
Now, you're talking about yourself, mate. I was like, what did you
do? Ric Flair, he's set to return to the ring July 31st for Ric Flair's last match. Reports are that it's going to be a 6-person tag with FTR, the Rock and Roll Express. Now, he's been training with Jay Lethal. We will see who pops up in that match. They haven't released any names apart from Ric Flair.
Did you see that they're selling it for $199? Fight TV.
Are you serious? I did not see that.
I read somewhere today. So you get all. It's like a package deal or something like that. But to watch the match, it's like you get all this backlog of Ric Flair and you get some other stuff on Fight TV and whatever else. But it's $199.99 to buy.
Wow.
So
that's a lot for an old guy to wrestle.
What is he, 97 now or something? Like, although I did see Jay Lethal throw him off the top rope the other day. It was pretty soft, but I mean, yeah, it's not going to be fun to watch. Sure.
I mean, hopefully FTR take the majority of the bumps.
Yeah, well, you'd think so. But who's going to partner? Who's going to go against him?
Rock and Roll Express and someone.
Yeah, well, it was originally talked that it was going to be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, wasn't it? So that's the 80s again. Woo!
Yeah, wow, interesting. Anyway, I was saying that he's mended fence with the WWE. They are working together with for a 2-hour documentary on the unknown history of Ric Flair. So he's back in the good graces of WWE, apparently.
Yeah, time heals all wounds, they reckon.
Apparently. Never say never in the wrestling business.
Especially WWE.
Now, let's move on to the indies very quickly. Matt Cardona, torn bicep. He could be out for some time. Long Island IC, King of the Death match.
You know? How many titles has he got at the moment? 77?
Yeah, something like that. I heard him tell a story about trying to get through airport security, and that was just a nightmare. And after he had his match with Nick Gage, where everything was covered in blood, security legit thought that he'd murdered someone. Also, William Morrissey, whatever you want to call him, Big Cass, he's left Impact. Reports are that WWE is interested in him again.
Did you hear what storyline they wanted to do with him?
No, I did not.
They want to bring him in as Edge's younger brother. Yeah, that's what I read.
Well, I guess
this has got Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan written all over.
They just do what they want, don't they?
Yeah, I guess. But like, you bring him back, we all know who he is. Like,
exactly.
It just doesn't matter. And you can't put a mask on him or something like that, or like it just.
Who knows at WWE? They'll probably rename him as well. No more Big Cass. It'll be someone else. New Japan quickly. Ace Austin has officially joined the Bullet Club at the Best of the Super Juniors event. So maybe we will see him at Forbidden Door. But Benny, we've got a lot to get through. Let's get straight into Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. You want to go first?
Now, for our previews, we usually do I give you a little test.
Oh no, don't do this.
So I've got a couple of little ones for you, just for a bit of fun. Now, this is the 4th Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Returned to Vegas this year after 2 years at Daly's Place due to the pandemic. But Tony Khan said he wants Double or Nothing to be in Vegas every year. The last 2 years' main events have been Stadium Stampede matches. But Benny, can you tell me what the main event was for the very first Double or Nothing?
Was it Mox? No.
Well, you would be close in saying that, but it wasn't Mox.
Did he come out afterwards? Yeah, that's right.
That was Mox's debut.
I remember I knew he was around. I do remember. That's right. But Jericho and Kenny Omega there you go.
had a match to determine who would face Hangman Adam Page at All Out to become inaugural AEW World Champion, which was won by Jericho. Now, as you mentioned, Jon Moxley, he debuted. Can you tell me who he beat the following year in the world title match?
Jericho.
I'll give you a little hint.
No, you lost me.
Brody Lee. That was
right.
Dark Order.
Okay. I thought you meant for the title, the AEW title.
It was for the AEW title.
Was it?
Yeah, Mox was champion and he defended the title against Brody Lee.
Okay, I thought you meant winning it.
At last year's event, who ended Hikaru Shida's record-setting title reign?
Nah. Mate. DMD.
Dr. Britt Baker. There you go. All right. Not too good with Double or Nothings, Benny, but
mate, Double or Nothing. I've only just started easing into AEW.
I know.
The last 6 months I've gone all in, but I mean, yeah, I see what I did there.
I did see what you did there. Hopefully you got some of them at home, but let's get into it. The buy-in, Hookhausen against Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. Mostly a comedic match, especially with Danhausen, posing with Hook while he did his cool "don't look at the opponent" thing at the start of the match, which was cool. Danhausen and Hook, they're just so over.
It's weird. It's such a weird combination. But
I mean, I haven't seen much of Danhausen, to be honest.
Neither.
In the indies or anything, but he is so over.
Yeah,
and
they love him.
From what I can see, he doesn't do much.
No.
I mean, I know he came in with an injury, but
he I thought he was going to be the same sort of like Orange Cassidy sort of thing, but it's just he's even stupider, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's just the stuff that he goes on with. Like he's more like a valet, like a manager or something like that.
Yeah.
Than an actual wrestler.
So the match ended. Hook got the hot tag, suplex Sterling, and then tagged in Danhausen to do the foot on Sterling's chest for the 3 count. What did you rate it, Benny?
Mate, I only gave this a half count. I couldn't get into the I know you said they're over and everything, but I can't get Hook. I'm not a fan of Hook at all.
No.
Nah, I just can't warm to him at all.
Fair enough. I gave it a 1 count. I thought it wasn't much of a match, but it was fun.
It was funny.
I enjoyed myself.
The Gaga was
the Gaga. Now, as for what's next, Hookhausen, I think it's got legs. I think it's a good role for Hook while he's still finding his feet as a wrestler. Plus, they're going to sell a ton of merch.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Now, first match of the card. What a doozy. MJF and Wardlow. If Wardlow wins, he's free of MJF. We finally got it. Obviously, there was some added spice with MJF no-showing the meet and greet. Rumors that he had a flight home booked. He did the plane thing. But he showed up. There were some funny moments, including MJF getting caught trying to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring. But it was all Wardlow, 10 power bombs before pinning him for the squash win. I gave it a 1.5 count. Look, it wasn't a match, but because this was a payoff for 2 years in the making, it got the kind of extra half from me.
Yeah, it's like you're reading my notes, mate. I only gave it the 1 count, so you gave it that extra half, and I literally said it wasn't much of a match was my actual quote that I've got here. But the storytelling was so good.
Absolutely.
Like just the way MJF played that chicken shit heel at the beginning, kept running out of the ring and all that kind of stuff. And then once he got his hands on him, it was just powerbomb, 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 powerbomb. Did you say 10 all up, was it?
10 all up. 10 all up.
10 all up. I didn't want to keep saying it, but yeah.
The reference to Sean Spears. 10.
10. Perfect 10.
Now,
Yeah, so
Wardlow now has his sights set on the TNT title, called out Scorpio Sky. So once Scorpio's healthy, we'll see that. And then we've got the MJF Tony Khan firing storyline to keep us entertained for a while. So,
well, this is what we were talking about with the MJF stuff as well. It's like the McMahon Austin era kind of thing, but it's the other way around. Yeah, it's inverse. Like MJF's going to be the baby essentially, and the other way around. Like
the wrestler's the heel and the boss is the baby face, which is
so.
And Tony, I mean, AEW fans love Tony Khan.
They do, but they loved MJF in that, and they almost turned on Tony Khan at the same time in that pipe bomb. So it'll be interesting to see I can't see him Khan getting in the ring though.
No. I mean, he stays backstage for the most part, and I think that's where he belongs.
Yeah.
Moving on, we had what was billed as a dream match, the Hardys and the Young Bucks. I'm not sure it delivered.
Maybe.
Jeff seemed pretty sluggish. Reportedly, from his match with Darby Allin, he was pretty banged up. Bucks came out to an Elvis impersonator doing Superkick Party. That was fun. They were decked out in Elvis-looking gear. It was a fun watch. At one point, the Hardys kept begging for and getting super kicks, which was they looked like pretty decent super kicks as well.
Solid connections there.
At one point, the Jacksons hit the twist of fate and the swanton for a near fall. But after Jeff Hardy hit a swanton onto Matt Jackson on the ring steps on the outside, a Matt twist of fate, another Jeff swanton, the Hardys got the pin.
Very surprised with that result, to be honest. Like
absolutely.
The Hardys, as you said, Jeff looked sluggish. Matt's looked terrible for a while, in my opinion. So I still thought they put on a pretty good match overall. Obviously, the Young Bucks sort of seemed to carry it a lot more. But I actually gave it a 2 count personally.
2 count, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was surprisingly good.
Okay, I gave it a 1.5. Like the Hardys look old, which makes sense.
Look old.
Which makes sense because they are old, right?
Yeah.
The Bucks carried it, even though it was fun. I think when one team's far superior than the other in the ring, it kind of hurts. So got the 1.5 from me. Still enjoyable though. And as for what's next, the Hardys, Bucks, and Jurassic Express will go at it for the AEW Tag Team titles in a ladder match on Dynamite next week.
Woo.
Here's the hot tip, Benny. I think the titles are changing hands.
Back to the Bucks.
I think the Bucks will get it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's my
I
pick.
don't know. They've been going all right. They just seem to keep holding on. So Jurassic Express. So I don't know.
I will tell you why a little bit later in the show.
Oh, I love it when he gives us this one, folks.
Give you a tease. TBS Championship match. Your girl, Anna Jay, against Jade Cargill.
What a match.
So much interference in this one. We had the baddies, Smart Mark Sterling, Johnny Hungy, then Stokely Hathaway came out, who distracted Jay and allowed Cargill to hit Jaded for the win. After the match, Chris Statlander ran down, and then we got the debut of Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon.
Yeah, brilliant match. Lovely. Really sold us. I can't even say it. I gave it a half count. It was all to set up the whole Athena entrance and that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, poor Anna. She doesn't get a good rub there. No,
I gave it a 1 count. They probably could have put on a pretty decent match, but there was just too much going on. Yeah. Cargill's incredible, and these kind of matches, they're going to help her, get better. So maybe it's a good in that form, and also had no build up.
There was like 7 extra people that came out or something like that.
Yeah. So it looks like we're getting Athena and Cargill soon, but I don't think Athena is going to take the title off her. Or maybe we'll see a trios match with all these women. Speaking of trios matches, we then go to House of Black and Death Triangle. Plenty of theatricality in this one and plenty of in-ring action. So much going on. Malachi Black is a bona fide star.
Wow.
At one point, Buddy King launched himself over the top rope, which was pretty amazing. Pac hit Black with a low blow. Was about to perform the Black Arrow before lights go out. Come back on. We finally see Julia Hart. She's in the ring. She spits the mist in his eyes, setting him up for the Black Max and the House of Black win. I gave this a 2.5 count.
Ooh, I had a 2.5 and I went back to a 2.
This match had everything All the competitors were amazing. I think it was almost match of the night. It was match of the night.
I've got another match that's better than it, but okay, yeah. But they're both. This was just a spot fest, but it was a fun spot fest. It still told a story, and then obviously with the lights going out, and she's gone from really light to dark, hasn't she?
Yeah,
like big change there. So that was good to see.
Hopefully, she's got the chops to pull it off.
Yeah, I think with those three that are already there, though, you don't have to do much with Malachi Black. Like he sort of controls that narrative, So
absolutely.
It was still a really good match, though. It was a really
good match. Julie Hart now officially a member of the House of Black. Plenty of stables to feud with, but I think we're going to continue this rivalry. Obviously, Pac and Buddy Matthews had their match on Dynamite. Penta and Black are also in the All Atlantic title tournament, so I guess we'll see more there. We move on to the men's Owen Hart Foundation final. Samoa Joe, Adam Cole. Relatively short match. Bobby Fish interference and distraction allowed Adam Cole to hit Samoa Joe with a knee to the back of the head for the win. I still gave it a 1.5 count. I thought it was short and sweet. They managed to make Joe look like a badass while still losing, and Cole is the classic heel. I gave it 1.5. I
gave it 1.5 as well, and I pretty much my notes here is it was a match. If that makes sense, it didn't do anything wrong, but it didn't do anything amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
So, but it was just a good, solid, quick match, if you know what I mean. Which this pay-per-view did go long. It was a long pay-per-view. So, I mean, you had to find some space to bring it back a little bit, I guess.
Exactly. As what's next, you mentioned earlier, Hangman Page came out and asked for a shot at Okada. Cole interjected. So maybe we get some more Hangman Cole. Maybe it's a triple threat at Forbidden Door. I mean, Okada still has...
Hang on. You are reading my notes.
Well, Okada still has Jay White to take on for the title. So maybe we see a four-way there. Actually, there you go.
Exactly what it says right there. Fatal four-way. Mate, great minds. At least we know we're on the same wavelength here, eh?
Great minds think that would be a cracker of a match.
Cracking fatal four-way match.
Absolute cracker of a match. Jeez, I hope they do that. I'm excited now.
Quick, call Tony. Let's get him on the
phone. Tony, I'll get him on the phone. We next had the Women's Owen Hart Foundation final. Britt Baker, Ruby Soho. Fozzie's a guitarist, played Britt Baker to the ring as he's done before. But then we got Rancid playing Ruby to the ring, which was pretty cool. Soho at one point locked in the sharpshooter. You're not a big fan of Rancid, Betty.
I'm just not a fan of Ruby either, to be honest.
Fair enough. Soho locked in the sharpshooter. Baker got to the ropes. And then when Soho rolled her up, Britt countered into another pin for the win. Bit of a throwback to Owen beating Brett at Mania 10, which was a cool way to end it. So Britt Baker wins. Martha Hart then presents Cole and Baker with their Owen Hart title belts and the cup.
I honestly thought, seeing as Cole won, they were going to go with Soho so that it wouldn't be the couple that won the both wins. So I thought it was a pretty good match, though. To be honest, it was nothing crazy. I gave it a 1.5 count, but it did the job. You know what I mean?
I gave it a 1.5.
I thought Ruby was going to win.
I gave it a 1.5 as well. I thought it was a good showing from both of them. To me, I actually thought, because Cole won, I felt like it was a foregone conclusion that Baker was going to win.
Yeah, okay. So they definitely have them both. See, because if you had Ruby and Cole both up there looking at each other, because she's just beaten his missus, would have thrown a bit something in the works. Could
have made something interesting. Now, here's where I got stumped, Benny, thinking of what's next for these two. What do you have any idea? I mean, I know Baker has had issues with Jamie Hayter. Maybe it's time for Baker to go on her own, but then
I've been saying that for 3 months though. When's one of them gonna have a crack and try and get Britt by herself? So Ruby, as I said, I don't really like her, so I'm kind of she seems to just join another female all the time, and just
Ruby's problem is she keeps losing. They give her these pushes and they just bury her. She needs a push, a women's title shot against Rosa, but then she'll probably lose that as well. And it looks like Tony Storm's going to get that shot. Here's what I think. Here's what I came up with. We need a Ruby heel turn.
Yeah.
Now we almost, the crowd were booing her in her last promo before the
Cause
Owen
she's
Hart.
shit.
Well,
Sorry,
people
Ruby.
she can use that. I think she would be a good heel. That's where I think she needs to go.
Just on a quick side, have you seen the AEW doing carpool karaoke? I think I tagged you in it, and she's sitting in the front like that. Yeah, drop. But it was just like just watching Ruby do that. I was like, my skin crawled. I was like, what is she doing? She just makes me feel so awkward.
It was a very odd pairing, MJF, Ruby, and Powerhouse Hobbs.
Powerhouse Hobbs just sitting there, but yeah. That was funny. I think there's a couple coming out as well. They're doing quite a few different ones for
I think there was 4 of them with Bryan Danielson, Britt Baker, Christian, and Punk.
Yeah.
All in a car. So that should be interesting.
That's another weird combination.
Very weird combination.
Anyway.
Speaking of weird combinations, I guess it's not so weird. We had the mixed trios match. Guevara, Conti, and Kazarian against Men of the Year and Paige Van Sant. Look, heel v heel matches are very hard to pull off, and they failed here.
Failed abysmally. Like, obviously, Paige got the win. That was her first win, first pin. Great. You had the whole, as I talked about before, getting kicked in the face. But they really missed the mark with this one.
Yeah, we got some fun spots. I mean, Conti going head first into Guevara's nether regions at one point was kind of funny. Obviously, Sammy, when he hit Ty, it was because he was going for a cheap shot on Kazarian. Match ended, Scorpio hitting Kazarian with the TKO. Yeah, I gave it a 1 count.
I gave it a 1 as well, yeah. I didn't even put any notes. I just thought I was going to ad-lib for that one. They just missed the mark for me.
Van Zant's coming along, but she still looks pretty green. She's got a long way to go.
She did hit I think she hit a Michinoku driver at one stage.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah. I think the problem is like Men of the Year and Sammy Guevara, and hey, even Frankie Kazarian, we're accustomed to seeing a lot more from these guys.
Yeah, that's.
And I think that hurt the match as well. It was just disappointing.
Yeah.
As for what's next, Sammy and Ty, as I said, I think they can be one of the greatest heel couples if they continue with it. Get all these people away from each other. Which I think is kind of what they're doing. Scorpio Sky looks like he's going to feud with Wardlow.
Yeah.
Get back to being a heel. Van Zant needs more work. They can protect her a bit until she's ready. I don't think she's going to have a singles match for some time.
There you go. There's where Ruby can go. Ruby can go and feud with Paige.
Take another loss. Poor Ruby. Poor Ruby. All right. We then had the singles match, Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin, in a very randomly thrown together match.
I literally wrote this was a weird one. Like what?
Allin trying to get revenge on O'Reilly hurting Sting. In any case, O'Reilly caught an Allin coffin drop into a choke and an armbar. Eventually, the Red Dragon member hit a big knee to score probably his biggest win in AEW so far.
That's fair.
And I actually gave it a 1.5 count.
I gave it a 1.5 as well. Like, I didn't think it was a bad match.
No.
I just thought it was just a bit of a weird sort of, like, it just didn't feel like it was going to happen or something. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was still a good match. Darby loves throwing his body around, though, doesn't he? Like, he's not going to be in wrestling for too much longer, surely.
No. A few more years and then he's done.
Yeah.
I think they're really trying to put Kyle O'Reilly over at the moment. I mean, he won that Battle Royal to take on Mox. He had a great match with Mox.
Brilliant match with Mox.
I like Kyle O'Reilly too. I think he's good. I was watching the other day Cody's last big promo in AEW where he was talking about the Bucks taking on Red Dragon, and he was saying, "I don't need the Bucks to see them take on any more developmental talent."
Ooh.
Red Dragon doing pretty well these days.
Yeah. Speaking of the Devils, there they are.
There you go, Red Dragon. Geez, you're wearing. I got Benny a couple of shirts while I was overseas. He's wearing them all at the same time.
Yeah. The Jericho Appreciation Society is coming out later, but we've got the Red Dragon and we've got the 1D going on.
Very nice.
It's a bit cold in here, man. It's cold in Sydney. For those of you not in Sydney right now, it's freezing.
It's freaking freezing. So O'Reilly, as we mentioned, he got the shot at Moxley, put on a decent match. I think we're going to see Red Dragon in more tag team matches, hopefully involved with the tag team titles.
Yeah, well, I guess O'Reilly's had that little singles push, like it keeps him that little singles thing. They know what he can do. Go back, Red Dragon, go for some titles or something like that. And then they can both. Well, O'Reilly looks more like the one that's going to have more singles chance than Fish. So I mean,
absolutely. And I guess Darby's just got to wait till Sting comes back, right?
Yeah, well, I guess he could do something with Danhausen or Hookhausen or something like that. You know, he could join them for a little
Trios. Get the trios going.
Face painted boys.
We then move on to the AEW Women's World Championship match. Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb. In a hard-fought match, Thunder Rosa retained her belt after a Fire Thunder driver. Now, I gave this a 2 count.
I gave it a 2 count as well. It was a bit of a technical masterclass, really. Like,
I am not a Deeb fan.
No.
At
I'm
all.
not a Rosa fan either. You're a bit of a Rosa fan, but
a little bit, but not massively. But this match sold them both to me. They both looked great in the ring.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 count for me.
I expected to be looking away or, you know, go to the bathroom or popcorn match, you know, as I like to call them. But I couldn't get up. I was intrigued in the match and I enjoyed it. So I gave it a 2 count as well.
They did a good job. So it looks like Rose is going to be taking on Toni Storm for the AEW Women's title now. Storm saved her from an attack from Marina Shafir. As for Deeb, I don't know. Here's another one I was thinking. Maybe they put her with Ruby.
Tag team or against each other?
No, against each other.
Yeah.
If they want to keep Ruby a face, put her against Deeb and I guess eat another pin.
The pin eater.
The pin eater.
Ruby Soho.
We then had the Anarchy in the Arena match, the Jericho Appreciation Society against the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz. Chaos from the opening bell. To try and explain what happened in this match, we just don't have enough time.
You can't. It was just a bloodbath. It was brutal.
Moxley was the last to come to the ring, and Wild Thing just kept playing.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again until Jericho smashed the soundboard. Fighting in the crowd, the concession area, blood everywhere. After brawling in the back with Daniel Garcia, Kingston reemerged covered in blood, can of gasoline, which is now that picture of him covered in blood with the gasoline's become a shirt in itself.
Yeah.
Dumped the gasoline all over Jericho and Bryan Danielson. And Danielson had to stop him from lighting Jericho on fire. Then those two brawled until Jericho leveled them. Then Hagar sent Mox into a table full of barbed wire. It was
do
all
yourself
happening.
a favor, everybody go and watch it if you haven't watched that match.
The match ended when Danielson passed out while he was locked in the walls of Jericho, and Hagar had a ring rope around his neck.
Just choking him. Just
the casual pass out.
Casual choke. Don't worry about it.
What did you rate this one, Betty?
Man, I gave it 2.5. I loved it. It was my match of the night. Like, just had so much in it. Like, it was just everywhere and everything and just full on. I loved it.
I gave it a 2. It was billed as Anarchy in the Arena, and that's what we got. Spots, stuff taking years off these guys' careers. You know, so much fun to watch. As for what's next, Danielson's out for a little bit, I'm assuming. Mox is challenging for the interim world title. Kingston looks like he's still got his sights set on the Jericho Appreciation Society. So,
Jericho could lose his hair next week.
Yeah, hair versus hair match.
Yeah.
A bald Jericho.
I know. I've been trying to think of it. So it's weird. We've seen him with short hair.
You've seen the short hair Jericho.
It's going to be weird. I don't know if he'll go all the way bald. He might just go short again. Because I think Kingston's going to get involved, and I think he might lose. I think he might put Ortiz over.
You think? I think if Jericho's going to lose his hair, he's going to do it at a pay-per-view. That's my thought on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
We then move on the AEW Tag Team Championship match, Jurassic Express, Team Taz, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Plenty of action in this one. Stereo moonsaults from the champs to kick things off. We got a Keith Lee dive over the top rope.
That's
incredible.
A scary sight.
All three teams in control at some point, but a Jurassic Express from the champs on Swerve got the win in the end. What did you rate this one, Benny?
I gave it a 2 count, to be honest. I thought it was still a pretty good match. A lot of action. It was pretty entertaining.
I gave it a 2.5.
Wow. Okay.
I thought it was tag team wrestling at its best. All these guys are on their game. I wasn't sold on Swerve and Keith Lee until now. I'm all in now.
Well, then at the Battle Royal, Swerve threw Keith Lee out. So
eliminated him. So
yeah, a little if they won't break them up already, but I mean, it's just a friendly rivalry. You got to do what you got to do, but they seem to work all right. They seem to work well.
What do you think's next for any of these guys, Benny?
Well, Jurassic Express, they've got the title match coming up, obviously, which you talked about before, which you think they're going to lose. So Swerve and Lee, they'll both still do individual things, but sort of hang around together. I don't know about the others. Like, it's not. It's problem with AEW as well is there's so many tag teams.
Absolutely, they need a second set of tag team.
They really do. Like, it's just
the TBS tag team title,
the All Atlantic tag team titles. So it's tough to see what's going to happen with that.
Here's what I think. Now, I alluded to this earlier in the show. Christian heel turn.
Yeah, well, they did tease it a few months back.
It's been brooding for a while.
Oh, see what you did there.
I'm hoping we get it soon. He's got to cost them the titles. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen for that what needs to happen for that to happen, but
wouldn't it be funny if he did it to get the Hardys the victory? Christian helps the Hardys get the titles.
There you go.
In a ladder match. That would be
okay. I could see that happening.
Foreshadowing from there.
I could see that happening. I would love Swerve and Lee to get involved again, but that's just because they sold me. But yes, we then move on to the main event, AEW World Championship match, Hangman Adam Page, CM Punk, the one all us Punk marks have been waiting for, the inevitable AEW title match. Despite Punk twice botching the buckshot lariat, it was a decent match. When the referee was knocked down, Hangman had the opportunity to use the title belt to take Punk out. He hesitated, decided not to do it. Punk countered a buckshot lariat into the GTS for the 3 count. How'd you rate this one, Benny?
What was with that? Like, Hangman's knee just went out on him, or what was?
Yeah, it looked like he was limping from earlier in the match. So
that's how they've sold it. And then obviously the GTS.
He does hit the mat hard when he comes flipping for that buckshot lariat.
Yeah. Now I gave it a 1.5 count myself. I thought there was some good storytelling, but it just felt like it lacked something, and it was a bit clunky at times. There was a bit, as you said, there was a couple of botches and stuff like that. It just it felt like it lacked something. Like, it didn't feel main event.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Now, I gave it a 2. Now, hear me out.
Oh, right. Mark. You're a mark.
Yeah, it gets an extra half mark point. I gave it a 1.5, but I gave it the extra half for the fact of Punk winning the title, what it meant for the company, what the moment that it was. But yeah, the match certainly left a lot to be desired for a world title match.
Yes.
But I still gave it a 2. I'm a mark.
Mark.
As we mentioned, Punk had to have surgery, and Hangman wants Okada, so plenty going on there.
Great match there.
Good pay-per-view.
Oh,
good solid pay-per-view.
As I said, it probably went a bit too long. There's a couple of matches they probably could have shortened and stuff, but yeah, that was a very solid pay-per-view. It was a great watch.
Absolutely. Great fun. I think because there's less pay-per-views too, the cards just seem stacked every time.
Oh yeah. Just looking at all the notes there, like, everybody is like massive, you know what I mean? So, and they left people off.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was a really good watch.
Definitely looking forward to Forbidden Door. Now,
it's going to be next level.
It's going to be so fun. Now, let's move on. WWE Hell in a Cell.
This one will be a lot quicker.
This will be a lot quicker, but I've got some questions for you.
No, Dylan.
Let's see how we go.
It's Hell in a Cell, and you know how I feel about these Hell in a Cells.
Tell us how you feel, Benny. Tell us how you feel.
Pay-per-view. Why is it its own pay-per-view? There was one cell match, Dylan. One cell match. One. What's the use?
I love it.
Just call it the June pay-per-view. Like, really, who cares? It was May, whatever.
They can't call it Judgment Day anymore because that's a stable.
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Now, this is the first time WWE has held 2 pay-per-views in a row without a title match since 2017. Benny, including this year, how many Hell in a Cell matches have there been? Now, I'm going to give you an over-under.
38.
Over or under 50?
I said 38, but now I'm thinking I'm wrong. I'm going to go I'm going to say 49.
Over.
Really?
With this year's Cody and Seth, it's 51.
There you go.
All
Not
up.
far off. That's
Now,
a lot. That's a lot. That
that's
goes
a
all the
lot.
way back to what, 97?
Well, here's the next question for you. What was the name of the pay-per-view where the first Hell in a Cell took place?
Bad Blood.
Got that one, don't worry.
That was Kane's debut.
That's right. Now, not including this pay-per-view, how many Hell in a Cell matches did Cody and Seth have between them before this pay-per-view?
Has Cody even had one? I'm going to say 3. Like Seth was in it last year against Edge. He had the one against Bray or the Fiend, whatever it was. That's all.
5
Wow.
between them. Rollins had 4,
Yeah.
and Cody's actually had 1, where it was DX against Legacy
Oh, yes, of course.
in 2009.
Bring back Legacy.
Now, I'm not going to ask you who has the most appearances and wins, because that's a layup. It's Taker. Who has the second most appearances and wins?
I want to say Triple H.
You would be correct.
Yeah.
9 appearances and 6 wins.
I was going to say I'm surprised he's had that many wins though, because I feel like he always takes the loss.
6 wins out of the 9. That's pretty good.
Unlike him.
Taker only has 8 wins out of 14, so
Wow.
a good winning percentage there for Triple H. Now, as we mentioned, I know you hate the fact that there's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and there's only one Hell in a Cell match. What year had the most Hell in a Cell matches in one night? Well, actually, no. I'll phrase this one differently. How many is the most Hell in a Cell matches in one night?
5.
The answer is 3.
Oh, damn.
And
I was just trying to hope that it was going to be a lot.
And it's happened 3 times. In 2009, we got Taker Punk, Orton versus Cena, and DX and Legacy. 2016, we got Reigns versus Rusev, Owens versus Rollins, and Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks. 2020, we got Roman Reigns against Jey Uso, Sasha Banks and Bayley, and Orton taking on Drew McIntyre. So there you go. 3 is the most.
But it makes sense, does it not?
It does. If you're going to have a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell, have a few Hell in a Cell matches.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just because you have a pay-per-view called Royal Rumble and not all Royal Rumbles, that doesn't make, like, I get that. That's different. But come on.
We're going to have 7 Royal Rumble matches in the Royal Rumble. All right, let's move into this card. We've got the Raw Women's Championship triple threat match to kick things off. Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. All 3 had their moments to shine. It seemed very evenly balanced. All 3 were crisp, kept the crowd into it all the way through. At one point, Asuka had both opponents in the ankle lock, which was fun. Finished with Lynch hitting the manhandle slam on Asuka, who was then thrown out of the ring by Belair, who made the cover for the win.
There's a sneaky little win from Bianca there. Like that's like a little heel move, you know, like it's just a few seeds there for future down the line. But I thought it was a pretty good match. I only gave it a 1.5, but I thought it was a pretty good match.
I actually gave it a 2.5.
Wow.
I'm not a huge Bianca Belair fan.
No.
But I thought they kept the crowd into it. It was just a really great match. It would have gotten a 3 if it had been inside the cell.
Boom! There you go. I just thought it was a bit clunky at the beginning of the match. Like it started a bit clunky. Just it always does with the triple threat. You know, like it's who's going to do what.
Who's going to be out of the ring while the other 2 fight.
And then it was an underwhelming finish for me with the sneaky little run in sort of.
But what did you say to me the other day too? You said Belair's so over. She's almost as over as Wardlow.
Yeah, she really is. No,
she
maybe
is.
not that much, but she's really over. Wardlow's over. Wardlow's over.
Wardlow is over. Okay, what's next for these guys? We've got Rhea Ripley. She won a fatal 4-way to earn the right to take on Belair at Money in the Bank. As much as I would love Rhea to win this one, I don't see that happening.
Nah.
They're saving Belair and Lynch one-on-one for SummerSlam for sure.
So does Becky win the Money in the Bank then? Cash it in at SummerSlam? Or they don't need the You probably don't need that because there'll be build for that match anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we saw Lynch. She got a shot at the 24/7 title on Raw. lost after a distraction by Asuka. So I think we're getting a bit of a Asuka
Lynch,
feud.
Yeah, which will be all right
for the time being. We then had the handicap match: Bobby Lashley against Omos and MVP.
I'll be back. Tell me when you're done.
Well, what about before the match? We got to witness the music video diss track from MVP.
That was all right because
Had some funny lines in there.
Yeah, that was all right.
Saying that he was dissing Lashley's time as ECW champion, saying that ECW was like new Coke. Interesting. In any case, Lashley took the beating to start, got sent through the barricade by Omos, made it back to the ring.
That was a hard actual.
That was a hard shot through the barricade.
Yeah.
Made it back to the ring. Cedric Alexander interfered on behalf of Lashley, sent Omos outside, and then he locked in the Hurt Lock on MVP for the win. Lashley then celebrating with a fans replica championship at ringside, which was cool.
Yeah. And afterwards, obviously, don't ever get in my matches again, Cedric. That was a little... but obviously, MVP takes the loss, not Omos, which is disappointing. I gave it a half count.
Wow.
I just couldn't. I just can't. He's just terrible.
You just can't. I gave it a 1 count. It was what it was. I mean, Lashley's carrying Omos, and look, Lashley's good, but I don't know if he's the kind of guy who you want to carry a match.
Yeah.
He can be great in a match.
He's powerful and impactful,
Yeah. But carrying a match, MVP's got a little left in the tank.
He looked all right.
Omos is improving.
No.
Where? He doesn't look as terrible. But yeah, not a great match by any means. 1 count for me. As for what's next, Lashley got interrupted by Theory. Interesting move from Theory there. He asked for a shot at the US title, to which Theory said no.
No.
And then we had Omos and MVP having a run in with the Dirty Dogs. We're getting a Dirty Dog face turn.
Oh, see, I think Ziggler could carry Omos, but
yeah. Well, I mean, Ziggler and Rude are
Rude as well. Yeah, they're
incredible.
workers.
They're
workers.
They're absolute workers. So
yeah.
I guess, rather than have one person carry him, let's have 2.
They need 2 of them to pick him up.
So they all moved on fairly quickly from that match. We then move on to Ezekiel and Kevin Owens. What do you make of this Ezekiel Elias shtick, Benny?
I didn't like it at first, and now I think it's just funny. It's just stupid and funny.
Well,
I don't mind it.
You're kind of agreeing with me here. When it first came around, I was like, nah. I'm not into this. But I think
KO's made it though. The way KO's carrying on.
Yeah, you're reading off my sheet here too, Benny. Seeing KO get pissed off that someone's lying is hilarious.
It's so funny. They did the lie detector test and everything, and
absolutely hilarious. But it's actually really good because as Elias, he had this shtick where he didn't actually really wrestle that much.
No, now he is.
So now we're getting to see what he can do as Ezekiel. And it was a pretty decent match in the end. KO did get the stunner for the win. I gave it a 2 count. I think it was definitely better than your average match, and it was entertaining.
It was a surprising match. I thought actually KO was gonna put him over for a second. It did look like Ezekiel was gonna get the win. But I gave it a 1.5 count. I thought it was a good match.
It was entertaining. I mean, and it looks like this isn't over on Raw.
Nah.
Zeke asked KO for rematch. KO said if he admitted he was Elias, he'll give him one. Ezekiel admitted it, then said he took a page out of his book and lied. So I think that's going to be the thing. We'll never get him admitting that he's Elias.
I'm waiting for the vignette when they're both of them are
put them next to each other, talking to each other.
Exactly. They've got to do it, surely.
but make it look as if it's definitely fake.
Oh yeah. It's a really, really bad deep fake.
Yeah.
So but everyone's and then that'll piss KO off even more, and then he'll just lose his shit.
Absolutely. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's very entertaining. At first I thought it was stupid, but now I'm buying it. We then move into the mixed trios match, Judgment Day against AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan. All the members got their spots in, but it was Judgment Day who had the upper hand for the majority, and it ended when Edge hit Balor with the spear for the win.
The coup de grace, yeah.
how did you rate this one, Benny?
Yeah, look, I think Rhea saving them from two coup de grace. Like, obviously, she pushed Finn off the first time and then stood in front of him the second time. And then Liv jumps on her back. They carry on. Edge gets up, spear all over. It again felt like it was just missing something for me. Like,
Well, I think we were all expecting the new member, right? Like Edge had been teasing that there was going to be a new member of Judgment Day. We're all thinking whoever they are is going to either turn heel on the team or make their way out. And we just didn't get it. I mean, I gave it a 2 count. I thought it was a decent match, lots of action.
Lots of action, yeah.
All the competitors are top notch, obviously. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen that new member, but obviously we had to wait till Raw. Till we saw Balor being announced as the new member of Judgment Day, which was a little bit strange until Priest and Ripley turned on Edge, essentially with the help of Balor kicking Edge out of his own stable.
Now, hear me out here. I mentioned this to you briefly, but why? Like, so we've heard these theories that it's because Cody's now out, Randy's out, they're going to move him back to baby, all that kind of stuff. They need a baby to go. But I mean, why? Like, find somebody else, man. Like, come on.
I also heard that Edge wasn't a fan of where they wanted to take Judgment Day into a supernatural kind of element.
But that's fine. But give it some time.
Yeah.
You know, Finn can come in, and if Edge doesn't want to wrestle as much or he doesn't have as many dates or whatever else, he does a vignette from the camera and goes, I'm going to let my team deal with it today.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, because Edge isn't there, they're filming a better bond. They're better bond. Finn's leading them. It's all good. Then Edge comes back, and then there's all of a sudden a bit of tension. Build it. Give it that long build.
Absolutely.
Bang, we get Edge and Finn at SummerSlam because Finn took over the Judgment Day from him or something like that. It just felt so quick and just one and done.
Take a page out of Bullet Club's book. You know, they so many times had someone kick someone out and then become the new leader. You know, like that would have been good. And, you know, Priest and Ripley were basically saying, you know, they figured out what's been holding them back, but have them as a unit of 4 to figure out that's exactly what's holding them back.
Like, it's been a week and a half or 2 weeks that Rhea's been in there. Like,
yeah.
And you're being held back already. Like, you've done nothing but win since you got there. So you haven't been held back at all. Like, it'd be different if they were losing.
Yeah.
So it really got to me, really badly. So
guaranteed it was unexpected. I definitely didn't see that coming.
No. Oh, it was shock and awe. It got us.
But yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. As for Styles and Morgan, you know, I guess they can continue to kind of be a thorn in Judgment Day's side.
Well, yeah, you'd think you get AJ versus Finn maybe now.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty baller if Ripley wins the women's championship and she's got Balor and Priest backing her up for everything.
She becomes a leader.
There you go.
AJ just does whatever he needs to do, man. He keeps that company going, really. He's just a workhorse, isn't he?
Absolutely. Moving on, the no holds barred match. Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. More of a brawl than a match.
How's your neck? Seriously.
Hey. Chairs and ring steps, the announce table, the barricade. Match ended. Moss put the chair around Corbin's neck, slammed it with the ring steps, getting revenge on what Corbin did. Then getting the 3 count. I gave it a 1.5.
I gave it a 1.5 count as well. It was a bit brutal at times. As you said, it was more a brawl than a match.
Yeah, it was what it needed. I thought it was like a standard WWE hardcore match from like back in the day.
Yeah, that's fair.
Apart from the neck thing, obviously.
But again, like if it's a no holds barred match, put it in the cell.
Absolutely. Wow.
Throw him into the cell a couple more times or something. Or even halfway through the match, Corbin calls for the cell to come down or something. Like, so it's not a Hell in a Cell match, but let's put it in the cell now or something like that. Like, I know the original premise of the cell was to never stop people getting in.
Yeah.
We get that. But now that it's always there and you're going to call it Hell in a Cell. Anyway, let me digress.
So it looks like they're strapping a rocket to Moss, right? I mean,
but he looks good.
He looks great. He can go in the ring. One would think that this feud's over. You know, I kind of hope so. But then I started to think, who's he going to go into a storyline with? I had a look at the SmackDown roster. I don't know where they can go. I mean, I think he's a bit above being in Max Dupree's male models. Maybe he can get himself in the IC title picture. Maybe he could start terrorizing Sami Zayn. I think that might be fun.
That'd be all right.
And obviously Corbin's going to be out for a while now. Written off. He's taken away in an ambulance. So, what do you think for Madcap Moss? Do you think?
Yeah, I think he's got to go to the IC. If you're gonna strap a rocket to him, he's got to go into the IC title picture personally.
But then they're probably going to give that to Gunter, right?
Well, yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, he has a match with Ricochet this week, so
that's on SmackDown this week.
Yeah, we will see. You probably know the result before you listen to this pod, but in any case, we move on. The US Championship match: Theory and Mustafa Ali. Sorry. As soon as you realize Ali is from Chicago, you know he's going to lose the match.
Yeah, never win in your hometown.
Vince never lets guys win in their hometown.
Especially Ali with all the stuff that's been going on with him. There was like no chance. He gave him that match in Chicago just so he would lose that match.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an energetic match. Both these guys are good performers. Just looked like when it looked like Ali was going to get the win with Theory and the STF. A-Town down, got to the ropes, hit his finisher, and got the win to retain the title. I gave it a 1.5.
I gave it a 1.5 as well. It was a pretty entertaining match. It was a good match before the main event. We knew what was coming. It could have been like a popcorn match, essentially. They could have just fobbed it over, but they didn't. They gave him that time. They did give him time to do something with each other. So I thought it was an entertaining match, and it did its job.
It did feel a little bit like a popcorn match, which is kind of a shame with the US title, but and I'm starting to enjoy Theory. Now, I wasn't a fan at all, but now I feel like he's starting to get this like Miz annoyance from me. Like I don't like him, but I can start to respect him as a heel. So
he's good at what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to see him win any matches. That's for damn sure. So he interrupted Lashley on Raw, refused to give him the title shot, but I think that's what's coming. As for Ali, I don't know what they're going to do with Ali from here. Gone?
Back at the 24/7 title run or something like that. Like, I just can't see.
Well, what about a best of luck in your future endeavors?
Yeah. A-Town.
So we move on from there. We get the main event, Hell in a Cell, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. Now, there isn't anything I can say to explain.
We didn't even mention it.
What's that?
We didn't even mention that before the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view started. We were told he was injured.
Yes. So torn pec. So he ruptured it, and then in training, he tore it off the bone. We get this information, a day or two beforehand, and we're told he's still going to compete.
Crazy. Because if
incredible.
You've ever seen see the pictures from the pay-per-view or just online, and if you've ever seen a torn pec picture before, it is just crazy.
It looked absolutely terrible. So Rollins comes out. He's wearing the dusty polka dots.
Oh, that's how it started.
Absolute gold. And then Rhodes comes out, and you can see this absolute messed up chest and arm. I think this match would have been a 5-star without Cody's injury. Now, please, 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 if you haven't seen it, watch this match. You won't regret it. My favorite part was Cody pulling the bull rope from under the ring. Both men attached themselves to it, had an impromptu bull rope match. There was stomps and crossroads galore, even a pedigree from Cody.
Yeah.
Ended with Rhodes hitting Rollins with a sledgehammer to get his 3rd win in a row. I'll go to your rating first, Benny. What did you think?
I couldn't give it the 3 count. I gave it 2 3/4. I pulled just short, but it was a bloody brilliant match.
Now, I wanted to go higher than a 3 count.
Oh, hang on. Dylan, Dave Meltzer. What's going on?
Not a mark at all. I wanted to go higher. I thought, do I say
You're allowed, mate. You're allowed.
But do I say it's a slow 3 count? No, I can't go to 4 count. There's no such thing. Do I say it's a slow 3 count? Or maybe I call it a count out.
Was it a submission?
A submission. Whatever it was phenomenal. I guess for the sake of this, I'll give it a 3 count. Absolutely phenomenal.
It was a submission and a 3 count at the same time.
There you go.
I don't know how you do it, but you did it.
Yeah,
it was a brilliant match.
I loved every moment of it. I mean, they had it was a legit injury, but they used it as part of the story. And but even so, his arm was hanging there, but he was still doing all the moves. It was.
Have you seen those people that say that it was fake and like they put makeup on his arm and everything like that? So I was like, how? Why?
There's always someone, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's always someone.
I wrote the article. No, I'm just kidding.
Did you see the picture on the way to Hell in a Cell of like how it started? It was just like a little bruise, and then it grew, and then it grew, and then it grew, and then they took a picture after Hell in a Cell, just before he had the surgery. His whole arm,
crazy,
was just black and blue. Yeah, crazy.
And again, another like homage to Triple H. You know, like did you see the pictures? There was like Triple H with a torn pec, and then him with a torn pec, him with the sledgehammer inside a cell, and Triple H same thing, and then they both did the pedigree in the cell as well. It was like, that's pretty cool.
I know the marks want to see it. Should Triple H come back for one match against Cody?
Oh, for the throne. After he broke the throne over in AEW.
Do you think that's going to be like too much for Triple H to stay away from? A WrestleMania match against Cody?
He might come back as like a manager or like alongside somebody.
Yeah.
You know, could they get the Authority back together and get Seth, jumps on Seth's side or something like that?
Maybe. So Cody came out the following night on Raw with his arm just hanging by his side. Mentioned he wanted a shot at the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now, I was thinking Money in the Bank's a month away, torn pecs, 4 to 6 months.
No chance.
I was like, no chance. What is he doing? He's effing crazy. Rollins comes out, shakes his hand, says he's, got so much respect for him. As Rhodes is leaving, Rollins attacks him with a sledgehammer. It's going to write him off for a few months. Makes sense. Till about Rumble time.
Royal Rumble.
What do they do with Rollins?
Well, there's no Roman for him to go against. He'll come out. He'll carry on a bit.
I mean, he's got major heel heat now. He can milk this taking Cody out for a while.
Well, we've already had Rollins and Edge last year, so I don't know. Like, there's not that many great babies out there.
We had Rollins AJ. I'm sure we have at some point.
We would have. But Rollins? No, that's the thing. He's just got so much heel heat at the moment that we're like, there's no white meat baby face at the moment to go against him.
There isn't.
So,
well, it'll be interesting to see how WWE ruin this. Yeah. As for the pay-per-view as a whole, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought I was gonna kind of just sit there waiting till the main event. But a lot of the matches surprised me, and I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. I actually wrote here, like, even though most of my ratings for them were 1.5 match counts, obviously the main event really dragged it up. But I gave it at like just over a 2 count really for the whole thing as an all. Like it still kept me entertained the whole time, and I was enjoying it.
It was one of the better WWE pay-per-views we'd had in a while.
It didn't feel like it didn't feel like a Raw, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of pay-per-views, it just felt like a Raw or a SmackDown. This one, it did feel like a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So,
well, Benny,
because it was Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, Benny, it's time. It's time for the 3 count draft.
What?
The 3 count draft. We've had the formation of the new Judgment Day, the dominance of the Bloodline, multitude of great stables in AEW. So today we're going to draft the best factions. It's going to be tough.
You've
so
got
many
the number
greats
one pick
to choose
too, mate.
What's that?
You've got the number 1 pick.
I do. So many options. We're going deep. We're going to go 20 rounds. You ready for this?
I'm ready, mate. 20 rounds. Yeah.
10 rounds,
10
20
each.
picks.
Yeah,
10 rounds,
10
20
each.
picks.
Whew.
Now the only rule we've got is that it has to have been an on-air faction.
Yes.
So the click doesn't
Too
count,
sweet.
unfortunately.
Or BSK.
That's right. Okay. So there was probably probably four. Probably four. I was thinking could go number one. But then one just kept standing out to me, and it was the NWO.
For life.
Yeah, it changed. They changed the game.
Yeah.
They changed what wrestling was. They obviously made WCW an absolute competitor straight away. And the names in it. Granted, it got a little watered down towards the end of it, but
you go off that very first
that original
three, and then when Bischoff came in, like that first sort of 6 months of NWO was like that was our childhood, like that was or like our teenage years, like that was amazing.
Absolutely. So NWO gets first pick for me.
It's a fair first pick, and like I would have taken NWO if I had number one pick as well. Now this is where I'm like. Because there's so many other good ones, and then you're sitting there licking your lips because whoever I pick, you get the other one. But to counteract that, I'm going with DX.
They were my number two.
Yeah, like just that, like especially the original DX as well, like Michaels, Helmsley, China, and then obviously it went to 2.0 a little bit once Michaels left, but just some of the stuff they did on screen and everything was just amazing.
And I mean, I feel like they get a little bit overlooked when you talk about, Steve Austin, basically helped WWE through the Attitude Era, but DX was a huge part of that.
100%. Like that whole Tyson build up and everything was all DX before Austin won his first title against HBK.
I mean, you could almost say they ushered in the Attitude Era.
Oh, they were the first ones. The stuff they used to do on screen was crazy. Like all those little promos and stuff they did, like that was really pushing the envelope.
I love the face shield with the windscreen wipers, and they're talking to Sergeant
Slaughter. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Good stuff from DX. Love DX. Now this is where it gets tough, Benny, because I don't have a clear cut number three. There's so many good factions. It depends how you want to think about it. Do you want to think about, the kind of Hall of Famers that have been in it, or do you want to think about the faction as a whole and what effect they had on the industry?
For me, I think I'm going to, from here, just go the ones I loved. And then every now and then throw in a little one that did something. You know what I mean? Like, I just, yeah.
Okay.
Go for it. Just go for it. This is so tough. All right. With my second pick, I'm going to take Evolution. Oh, wow. That's big.
You've got, arguably three of the best ever and Batista.
Yeah. No, that's a great pick. I'm going to mark out for my next pick. I'm going to go the Hart Foundation.
I was always going to leave that one to you, Benny.
Oh, well, hang on. I won't pick them yet. Then I'll pick them 20.
Too late.
No, they were, again, a big part of my childhood and what really got me into wrestling and stuff like that. So I love the Hart Foundation.
You're such a Bret Hart mark.
Sorry. Okay. Cody Rhodes, CM Punk.
All right. Next pick. What's up, 3 Count peeps? Now, unfortunately, we've had some technical difficulties. It does happen on the show. So our draft got cut off while we're only 2 picks each into it. Benny had just taken the Hart Foundation, but never fear, I will take you through the rest of our picks because it was a deep draft this week. We don't want you to miss out on any of them. We certainly didn't want to lose it, but it is what it is. So Benny had just picked the Hart Foundation. I was up to my third pick. I took Bullet Club. The amount of guys that came through Bullet Club and are much better off for it. I mean, the list is endless. You got Cole, the Bucks, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Doc Gallows, Anderson. The list keeps going on and on and on. I mean, everyone's been through Bullet Club. Cody, who has been through New Japan. And it was such a cultural phenomenon at the time, before AEW hit. You could get the shirts everywhere. And so, yeah, Bullet Club, I was taking with my third pick. Now, Benny surprised me with his third pick. He kind of took a page out of what I just picked, and he picked the Elite, BE Elite. So, Benny, his third pick, the Elite, great pick. I was a little bit upset about it. I then went with the Shield. Now, Rollins, Reigns, Ambrose, Mox, whatever you want to call him, from what those guys have gone on to do, and the way they came in, the way the Shield came in, it was so fun to watch. They were just taking dudes out left, right, and center. There almost wasn't a reason for it too. And now you look, Roman's one of the best of all time. Rollins, he can have a 5-star match with anyone. He just had a 5-star match with Cody Rhodes. And Mox is, on his way to becoming AEW world champion again. So 2 members of the Shield could be world champions at the same time in different companies. So the Shield is a very strong faction. I took that. With Benny's fourth pick, he went with the Wyatt family. Now, obviously, Bray, not around at the moment, but has done great things. You got Mr. Brody Lee, who was, a pillar when he came, not one of the official pillars, but when he came into AEW, it was really big, to unveil Brody Lee from the Dark Order. So, Eric Redbeard maybe hasn't done too much. Obviously, Braun Strowman, we're still waiting to see whether he breaks in with AEW or WWE at some point. He seems to be happy doing his own thing with the control your narrative stuff. But, Braun's one of a kind as well. So the Wyatt family, Benny picked at number 4. I then went kind of back to the Shield, one of the members of the Shield, the Bloodline. Now, they've got all the belts at the moment. They've got arguably, maybe there's probably 2 in the conversation of best manager of all time. Paul Heyman's got to be up there with Bobby the Brain. So the Bloodline is an incredible faction, and I took that with my 5th pick. Now, Benny with his next pick, he really surprised me, and I was hoping this was going to fall back to me at some point, but he took the Undisputed Era. That absolutely killed me. I thought I was going to get them later on in the draft, but Undisputed Era, such a great faction. Obviously, apart from Roderick Strong, the rest of them are in AEW now, the Undisputed Elite. But the Undisputed Era, at one point, they had all the belts in NXT. They made NXT cool, for sure. So great pick there from Benny, the Undisputed Era. I then took the Radicals. Now, a little bit controversial. I know we're not supposed to talk about, he who shall not be named. But when they came in, that was the real avalanche of guys coming from WCW to WWE. And it was one of those first times where we saw like a big group. I mean, there was 4 of them, but a group of, wrestlers from another company coming in, and, they kind of played this whole, are they with WCW still? But the Radicals coming in, obviously Eddie is one of the best of all time. Benoit, while, he's kind of been stricken from the record books, he did amazing things as well. Malenko, Saturn, but the Radicals coming in was an awesome faction. So I took them with my 6th pick. Benny went with one of his favorite factions of all time, NWO Wolfpack. So I know I took NWO already. He took the Wolfpack. Good pick there, Benny. 7th pick for me, I went with the Authority. You got Triple H, Stephanie, obviously running the show. They had Randy Orton, Seth Rollins when he turned on the Shield to join the Authority. They had Corporate Kane. They did some damage. They kind of ran the show when the Authority was in power. So I took them with my 7th pick. Benny went with kind of along the same lines, but a few years beforehand, the Corporate Ministry. Now, there was the Corporation, there was the Ministry of Darkness. When they all combined, Vince and Taker working together. That was great. The Corporate Ministry for Benny with his 7th pick. With my 8th pick, I went to TNA. The Main Event Mafia. Just the names of the guy, like Angle, Sting, Steiner, Booker T, Nash. They were really running that show, and the faction, it felt real because those guys are obviously huge main eventers from other companies coming in, taking the spots of younger guys who are in TNA trying to make their way up. So it kind of really fit that, you know, they had a monopoly on the main events. And yeah, so I really like the main event Mafia. That was one of the good things that came out of TNA. With Benny's 8th pick, he went chalk, as they say. One of the greatest factions of all time, hadn't been taken yet. 4 Horsemen, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson. You know, what more can you say? They kind of the original faction. I want to say they're the original faction. Yeah, the 4 Horsemen were unstoppable for a while. Then my 9th pick, I went with the Nexus. Now, when they come, I mean, there's been a few guys who came through the Nexus. Daniel Bryan was there for a little bit. But at the time when they came in, they were these NXT guys, you know, creating waves and just, you know, trying to ruin everything, including Cena at the time, who was, you know, he was one of those tweeners. The kids loved him, everyone else didn't. So it was kind of fun to see him get his butt whipped every now and again. Then CM Punk kind of took over and took a, you know, kind of different role for the Nexus, but the Nexus, my 9th pick. Benny then taking, do I want to say one of the greatest of all time? Maybe not one of the greatest factions because they're so down our list, but the New Day, never ending, the New Day. You know, one of the guys could get injured, the other 2 will be fine. They could get put on different shows. It doesn't matter. You know, these guys are always going to come back together. So I remember when New Day first started, I was thinking, what is this gospel gimmick? I'm not buying this. I was not a fan. And now look at, they're so over. They're probably one of the biggest merch movers going around. New Day, great pick there for Benny. My last pick, this was a tough one. There were quite a few options left, obviously. I took the Alliance. I know, you know, during that WCW coming in storyline, they didn't have the best wrestlers from WCW. But, you know, they put Stone Cold over there. Angle was over there for a little while. They had some really funny stuff. Whether it was great wrestling or not, I don't know. But they had some really funny stuff. And, of course, all the ECW guys, you know, the Dudleys, RVD, Taz. And then Heyman there as well, with Stephanie and Shane, of course. So Booker T, the Alliance. It was a fun angle, and I thought they were a great faction. Benny's last pick, definitely out of left field, still a great faction. Aces and Eights from TNA. Very out of left field pick there from Benny, but they had some great storylines. You know, guys coming in to try and take them down. So that was Benny's last pick, Aces and Eights. So for me, I had the NWO, Evolution, Bullet Club, The Shield, The Bloodline, The Radicals, The Authority, Main Event Mafia, The Nexus, and The Alliance. Benny's were DX, The Hart Foundation, The Elite, Wyatt Family, Undisputed Era, the NWO Wolfpack, Corporate Ministry, 4 Horsemen, the New Day, Aces and Eights. Now I probably had like 20 more, like that would have been honorable mentions. Team Angle, a lot of the guys, you know, a lot of the factions that we've got in AEW now, Pinnacle, Blackpool Combat Club, The Brood was one I was thinking of. Legacy was great. Chaos in New Japan, huge. And then there were some kind of funny ones. We had, you know, Spirit Squad. But we had to mention 3 Count. What a great faction, 3 Count. So there you go. There you have it. That is our draft. You still got it, even though we had difficulties. But in any case, thank you for listening to the whole episode. You know, it was a long one today. I appreciate you sticking with us. Make sure you let us know on the socials who you think has the best faction list. We'll put it up there for everyone to see pretty soon. We're going to be back in a few weeks to preview Forbidden Door and Money in the Bank. Now, if you like the show, please tell your friends about it. Pump it up on socials. You know, if we can get a bit more of a following, a few more listeners, we can hit the next level. Maybe start having some conversations with WWE and AEW. Maybe start to get some stuff for giveaways and prizes for you peeps out there. So please, if you like it, you know, tell your friends, pump it out there. If you don't like it, keep it to yourself. That's it for this week. Thank you, Benny, for joining us, even though, you know, we kind of got cut off, but we will see you again next time on the 3 Count Podcast.